The Toronto Central CCAC is a large urban CCAC that serves downtown Toronto, and its role is to support people of all ages who need post-acute care. So if you've gotten some care in a hospital and you need some help afterwards, or you need help being supported in your community, that's the role of our organization. Home First was an initiative that was started out of our quality agenda, and our role is to help seniors transition home or to long-term care from hospital. And Home First was an opportunity to look at doing that very differently than we had traditionally done it.
Home First is really a philosophy and an approach to care which focuses clinical teams in a very different way than previously. Home First is about people thinking, clinicians thinking, every time that a patient comes into hospital, that the preferred destination, if possible, is home.
What Home First is meant to do is to support frail elderly people who present in the hospital who would otherwise be transitioning into long-term care to go home with some added supports to see if they could remain in their home, or to give them a chance in their home to plan for their next destination, which may be long-term care.
We composed a very, very specific plan, what we call a service plan, for these clients to minimize the risk, because some were quite high risk, but to reduce this risk and keep them in their home for as long as possible.
The benefits to the patient is that they get to go home and they get to get better at home. And what we have found with this program is that the majority of the patients do get better at home.
The hospital is a very, very key partner. Typically when people present at the hospital, it's actually the hospital staff that have those first interactions. And we work with our hospital partners, and they're very good at helping people when they come into the hospital to understand that your acute needs are going to be assessed, they're going to be treated, and when you are ready to be discharged, that you will be supported working with the CCAC to go home.
And so what's been interesting with the advent of the Home First program is that you see the CCAC coming in and working with us around patients and helping us to see patients through their eyes. They see what is possible, they understand what's available in the community, and are able to help us think about translating people out into the community. So it's been pretty exciting to see some of the opportunities that have been made through that.
At first I was skeptical. At first I thought it was one of these procedures where they wanted you out of the hospital, so they'll basically lead you to believe anything that they could to get you out of the hospital. And that's when I met Susan Wilson, who was the primary caseworker, who sat down with me, who explained to me what services were available. She explained to me about the Wait at Home program, and she promised me that it is exactly the way she described it. It isn't a way to get your mom out of the hospital. And I trusted her.
I've always encouraged that the client becomes involved in the service plan, because that's when our outcomes are fantastic. We've brought many people home who they said it's just not possible to bring home. And they have succeeded, and many of them have remained at home.
From my mom's perspective, it is very, very preferable to be at home. She has her privacy. This is her house. This is her home. She was very, very happy to be out of the hospital and to be home again. It was very nice to be home again. It's worked out extremely well. Susan has been absolutely fantastic.
You'll find that something is worthwhile if you just smile.
Very good, very good. In March, Lillian had to go back into hospital for an over-medication problem, and at that time, Paula at St. Michael's told me about this new program. And I think what's wonderful about the program is that our main concern was for Lillian to stay at home.
I think with Lillian's particular situation, the coordination for services was a really important piece to make sure that everything was coming together very nicely for her and working the way it needed to for her and for her family. So shortly after she was discharged, I came in to make sure that I was doing a very good assessment and following through with what the daughter-in-law and the client both believed to be their needs and to get a better idea as to how to support them.
This has been a godsend to us because not only can she stay at home, it also allows the children who visit her every night after work on their way home. And so it keeps us still very much involved with her care and with all the extra care that's been given to us. It's just been wonderful.
I think the best part about Home First is right now bringing people back into the community and utilizing the community better. We're finally moving away from a period of institutionalization, whether it be in hospitals or in long-term care facilities, and I think that it's a better use of our resources to keep people at home, and it's satisfying most people's wishes to stay at home, but to do so safely and with the right supports.
Sometimes patients are not able to return home. Their care demands may be so high, or we may have such concerns around safety that they're not able to go.
Safety is absolutely a priority, and Home First is not for every single patient. We, of course, still have patients who they must consider whether long-term care is their next step in the trajectory of where they're going with their chronic illness.
Very early on in the program, I had a call one day from our geriatric emergency management nurse, and she called me up and she said, "Jocelyn," she said, "what's this Home First thing?" And I said, well, I explained it was a philosophy and approach to care that we had just started to implement a few weeks earlier in the organization. And I asked her, why did you ask that? She said, well, I had this frail senior in the emergency department who really wanted to go home. The last time he was in Emerge, he was admitted to hospital, and he was in hospital for a lot longer than he wanted. And I was sitting there thinking, how am I going to help to support this gentleman? And she called CCAC, which is what she normally would do, and it just so happened that the Home First team was actually right on site, and she described it as this team of people swooping down into the emergency department and actually taking that patient and facilitating that transfer back into the community. And she was just stunned because even as a few weeks earlier, that would not have occurred because of the approach which she may have taken, which is, gee, I'm not sure there's the resources in the community to manage this patient, and not also having the relationship with CCAC and the partnership there to really say, how are we going to work together to get this gentleman to where he wants to be?
I took a stroke in Barrie, so they rushed me in right quick. So I was there for, I guess, 5, maybe 6 weeks. And then they said they were sending me to a nursing home. And I said, I don't think I need a nursing home. I don't feel I need it. Effie is the coordinator for my services. CCAC are very good. They give me excellent care. Without them, things would be quite a bit more difficult, and I might have to return to a nursing home. But as things are right now, I'm going to remain home. It was my choice to come, and I'm glad I made the choice.
I've been very impressed with the Toronto Central CCAC and the services that they have been putting into place. And by services, I mean innovative and new services that we haven't tried before.
From a CCAC perspective, it is allowing us to support people as per our mission, vision, and values to age in their home, to continue to be active members of their community as the person determines they want to be. So overall, it's a win-win for everyone.
I think what I like best about the Home First philosophy is it sees the possibilities in people. And I would really strongly recommend that every organization, every clinician, every administrator take a look at a program like this and say, what would it take to have this happen in my environment? What would this take to happen in my region?
Home First is definitely something that I would recommend to others, because as a caregiver, quality of life for my mom is very, very important. And everything that I would need in order to make her life comfortable is available.
I can't tell you how much relief it was, and for all of us. And to have her here at home rather than in a nursing home, it's, you know, it's been wonderful.
Without CCAC, I would not be able to look after my mom. I probably would have left her in a hospital, and she would be miserable and I would be miserable. I would feel very, very guilty.
There is no doubt in my mind that this is better health care, because we have put into place another option, and it is an option that I believe is more what the patients want and what they need.